Good night, everybody. We're about to make a start. We would like to welcome Mr. Ian Douglas, Honorable Ian Douglas, who's here with us, Honorable Kasani Laville, Minister of State Gregory Riviere, Senator Nicholas Esprit, Mr. Sam Raphael, and also later will be joining us Mr. Kenny Green, and our candidate for the DLP, Dr. Vince Henderson, who is going to be running for the election on the 25th of November, 2021, and you, the young people of the Granby constituency. We would like this meeting to go very well. Please cooperate with us. Don't give us much hard time, and you're not ready. So the rest of the young people, we really like you to be under the tent, and for those people who are over 25, I mean, you could stick around, but leave this space for the young people, please. We do not want to misbehave, right? No problem. We want to have a smooth night. We want to have a smooth night. Thank you very much. Now, in everything that we do, we have to start with prayer. So can we please stand as we welcome Patricia to lead us in prayer?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to the youth. Sign of my faith in the Father and the Son of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening, all of this youth of this community, along with our leaders here this evening. Lord, we ask that this meeting will be a fruitful one, a productive one, where the youth can come out and be themselves, be honest with themselves, be open-minded, speak out their mind, what is affecting them and everything else. Lord, we want our leaders here this evening to listen to us, listen with attentive ears, and show us the way, lead us in the right direction. Lord, we need guidance. Lord, protect all of us here this evening. Lord Jesus, we had an incident yesterday. Lord, protect the family that is affected. Lord, we want to rebuke this curse that is on us, young men and women, who those are being abused, those that are stressed and cannot talk about it. Lord, help us to be able to come out and talk to someone, seek help. Lord, as we are here this evening, let us be honest with ourselves and come out and listen and see ways where we can be productive young people. Lord Jesus, help this meeting to be a quiet one and peaceful one, but productive. We ask this prayer for Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Patricia, for your prayer. Now we have Davy St. Luce, our attorney at law in the making, with the welcome remarks. You can give a round of applause, please.
A pleasant good evening to Honorable Ian Douglas, Minister of Trade, Dr. Vince Henderson, DLP candidate for the Granby constituency, Honorable Kasani Laville, Minister for Public Works and Digital Economy, Minister of State Gregory Riviere, Senator Nicholas Esprit, Mr. Sam Raphael, developer and manager of Jungle Bay Resorts, and all the labor youth organizations. As a resident of Center, where we are gathered tonight, and an avid Labour Party supporter, it is with great joy that I welcome everyone here tonight to this Youth Link-Up. This meeting is essential as we, the youth of the community, are the majority voters, and we are interested in the development of Granby. Many of us are small business owners, teachers, and students, and we are eager to see progress in the community. So tonight, we welcome the candidate of the Labour Party to express his plans and the way forward for the community. Thank you to everyone gathered here tonight. I trust that this meeting will be productive, and we will all leave here tonight hopeful for a better Granby. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Davy. Now, tonight we have some great speakers with us. I'd like you to cooperate with them. Also, feel free to cooperate because I'm to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions that you have because they're here to answer some of your questions. So, firstly, we have Honorable Kasani Laville, Minister of Public Works and Digital Economy. Please make him feel welcome.
Good evening to my cabinet and parliamentary colleagues, Honorable Douglas, Honorable Revere, and Honorable Esprit. Good evening to the incoming power rep for the Granby constituency, Dr. Vince Henderson. Round of applause for him, please. Good evening to Sam Raphael, famous business entrepreneur, hotelier, and so much more. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, Sam. Good evening also to the MC. Thank you, Miss St. Luce, for gracing us with your prayer. I believe the chairman of the village council is here, invited guests, everyone from Granby. Welcome to all of you. Good evening. First of all, I want to express how happy I am to be here in Granby tonight. It is absolutely a pleasure to be in your wonderful constituency tonight. And I'll tell you something. For me, I feel so honored to be here in Granby tonight because Granby is special. Granby, ladies and gentlemen, is no ordinary place. Granby is that place that over 2,000 years ago, that's one of the places where the Americans first settled in Dominica. In the 1700s, you had people from the French islands coming here to do timber trading. Why? What do I mean to say is that even back then, people knew that Granby was special. It is that place where the English colonizers in the 1700s, they also came and they took your land away from you. And they split it up into various estates. And they made us all, people who look like me and look like you, work hard, toil for free. That's what they did to us. But you know what's even more special about you, the good people of Granby, is that it is on this soil, it is in this place, this land, that you said no. No more oppression, no more pain, no more suffering. And it is in that vein, in that spirit, that you rose. And it is because of this that you have this rich culture, the rich pride, the heritage, the dance, so much more, starting here in Granby. And this is why you, Granbarians, you are the pride of Dominica, and you are the pride of the Dominica Labour Party. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few days and weeks, I had the pleasure to walk around house to house, particularly in the areas of Lally and Back Street. Almost like a missionary representing the Dominica Labour Party, the Prime Minister, the incoming power rep, and I had the pleasure to meet so many of you, to hear from you, to talk to you, to understand you. And because we care, we on this side in the Labour Party, we care for you. We observe very closely your words, what you had to say, your tones, your body language. And this is why we are back here today to focus on the youth. Because we care and we want to continue that conversation with all of you. And I want to thank you all for embracing that call and accepting that call to come here tonight in such numbers. And in the youth, I see the very small, and I see youth under 40. I know some people are trying to claim youth at 60 and 70, but I'm seeing the young and the older ones. And I just thank you for being here. And our message is certainly for all of you. So thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we know a lot has been happening in Dominica. We know COVID-19 has been affecting us for almost 2 years now. And from speaking to you, many of you have been affected. Some of you have lost your jobs. Some of you have lost some opportunities. However, this Labour Party administration has ensured that even in these most difficult times, we do our best to ensure we address the needs of the country and with a focus on the needs of the youth. I am the Minister for Digital Economy. Many of you have not heard of that before. However, it all started from the vision of our Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, our own world boss. Back in 2019, in our manifesto, even there it was written that the intention of this party, this Labour Party, would be to transform the digital economy through technology. And this is what we are all about. And this revolutionary type of thinking is something special. Because in the entire world, we have but less than 10 countries with a digital economy ministry, a ministry that is focused on digital economy. So I'm here to talk to you, the youth, about digital economy tonight, what the incoming PALREP intends to do and to help you through the digital economy. There are tremendous opportunities for you in Granby through the digital economy, and we want you to embrace all these opportunities that are there for you. So first of all, what is digital economy? It may seem complex, compound word. We've heard digital, we've heard economy. And all we are trying to do is to use the internet, to use technology to make life easier, to do business, and to benefit, transform our economy by creating a sector. That's it. For you, the youth, what does this mean, digital economy? I will tell you what we are doing for you as a Labour Party administration is very practical. So we are breaking down what would be something maybe a little complex, digital economy, into simple things. So let's start with the very young, the school children. Many of you over the past few weeks would have received devices. We know life has changed. Many of you all are now doing homeschooling. You are online, very sadly because of COVID-19. And we as a Labour Party, ladies and gentlemen, we have made sure that we have provided for you so that your children, that you young people won't be left behind. This is what we are doing as a ministry. And we have gotten for you 8,000 devices at a cost of $1.3 million. That is the type of money, the investment that we are making for the youth, the future of Dominica. And this is something we must be very grateful about. So, for many people, young people, I was speaking to a few young people before we came down here. And I'm very happy that they are down here with us, some under the tent. And they're asking, what is this government doing for me as a young person? What is Labour doing for me? And this is what we are doing through digital economy. We're investing in you, in devices. We're investing in your education. We're investing in your future. And not only that, we are providing jobs for you as well. And that is why we have a program called Work Online Dominica. And I will tell you a little bit about Work Online Dominica as well. So in 1 year, our ministry has collaborated. We've worked with the Dominica State College and 2 other agencies who have partnered with us. And we have been able to train 120 young people. That's between the age of 18 and 40 years old. going house to house in Granby has taught me a lot of things. I have met with hairdressers. I have met with nail techs. And you know you must have that in Granby because Granby girls fresh to death. So I have met those. I have met farmers, young engineers, architects, young accountants, aspiring lawyers, teachers. I see one here right here with us. I'm sure there's more. So we've met many young people. We've met primary school students, college, high school students. And you all are so bright, so smart. And from talking to you all you want are just a few simple things. Adequate food, clothing, shelter, opportunities to provide more for your children. And power to you for that. These are the things that you as young people should want. And what I'm promising you is that this Labour Party, and through your power rep, you will have all those opportunities and even more to restore that pride of Granby, the pride of our nation. And through digital economy, the opportunities are giving us so much. I know one young lady who's making $800 per week through digital economy. That's $2,100 EC dollars per week. $8,000 a month. That is serious money. I see my comrade shaking his head. He looks like he doesn't want to be a minister anymore, and he's going to be going to the digital economy for opportunities. So there are many opportunities for you, and we want to teach you all about that. We want you to embrace those opportunities. But we see some challenges because the people applying are mostly young women. 78% of the people applying for these jobs are women. 22% of those applying are males. We need to pull up our socks, boys and young men. We need to do something about that. Because what we are doing is we are giving up for the young ladies. Power to them for being that 78%. But it needs to be closer to 50-50. We can't have the young ladies taking care of the children on their own. It's not fair, it's not right, it's not acceptable, it's not being a man. So I want better for you, I want better for us. Working online is very simple. We're going to start the next cohort, so we're going to start from January to train another 60 young people. But don't think it's just a breeze, a walkthrough. Applying is easy. You get online, apply through a form, and you upload a 1-minute video. Because many people are interested, it goes through a process where we select the 60 to start with. The investment is about 20 hours a week for 12 weeks, where you do various modules of training with prospective employers. And we also do active coaching every week to help you. And we have various modules of training because it is important that you have the right mindset when you work online. Because what we are doing is we are creating entrepreneurs. We are creating business people. So you are not going to succeed if you don't want to work hard. You are not going to succeed if you are not going to invest the time and the hours. You are not going to succeed if when you are working, you prefer to go to a CO instead. You will succeed if you dedicate the time. You invest the time and the hours. And that is how you will get the $800 per week. But we know you can do it. From talking to the people in Granby, the young people, from talking to you, from hearing from the incoming power rep, the belief that he has in you, I know you can do it. So this is why he has invited me here tonight to tell you about these opportunities through digital economy. And he has asked also that closer to the date at which we start in January, he has asked that I come back and walk with you all, walk through it, the application process, to ensure that out of the 60, Granby has its fair share of people with access to the jobs online. And that is a power up. That is what Granby needs. And there are more opportunities for you all in the digital economy this year. Starting January, we intend to invest over $11 million more in the digital economy. We want to train you all and give you all more skills to succeed. We'll give you all internship opportunities, paid internship opportunities. So imagine you being a student at Fifth Form Pearchild Secondary School or Dominica State College, and you have some time and you are able to do a digital job, training, internship, and get paid. You live with a skill, you live with some money in your pocket. How cool is that? And this is what this Labour Party is investing in you. Because we know that you are the present and you are the future. I mean, just look at the cabinet of the Prime Minister, where you have so many ministers under 40 years. When you think of the Prime Minister and Dr. Henderson, your incoming power rep, who started off in their 20s, that is the belief that the Labour Party has in the youth. But when you think of the other side, well, there's hardly other side, but maybe you could say a color blue. They are not even sending a candidate in Granby. What does that mean to you? That they do not care. Granby means nothing to them. They have no interest in representing you. They have no love for the youth, no interest in the young people that I see there. But I won't waste time talking about them anymore. Tonight is about you. But it's important to mention that. Because with Labour doing so much for the youth, we also need you to believe in yourselves, to understand what you need to do to protect yourself and to protect your future. And that is to continue to believe in the work, the progressive values of this Labour Party. So tonight, I'm asking of you, the parents who are there, those who are 18 and above, to think about this critically. Who is there for you? Who is concerned about your future? Do you think any other party would invest in thousands of digital devices for your children? And it's not the first time that we've been doing that. That's a culture, it's a habit of this Labour Party. Over and over. Earlier this year, the party gave college students, high school students, tablets and computers, laptops. And I'm saying the party, that is Labour Party. Ça pas gouvernement pièce, Labour Party, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm asking you, urging you, that on the 25th of this month, come out in your large numbers, because your vote for the power rep, your Tikwa next to Vince Henderson, is an investment in yourself. It's an investment in the youth. Because he walks like you, he talks like you, he thinks like you, he knows what you are thinking. And Vince Henderson is the man for the times, he's the man for Granby, and he will restore the prosperity that the people of Granby need. So thank you very much for your time. And one more thing that I ask of you is to lift your energy. Many times we as young people, we look at people who are a little older than us, and we say they take lead, they take in charge, they take in front. I want you to look at yourselves as leaders. And politics is very important in your livelihoods. So I encourage you all to become activists. Reflect on that. Think about that. It's not too young, even though you're not 18. Think about it. God bless you all. Labor! Wonderful. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Before Mr. Laville leaves, if you have any question for him, feel free to ask.
Is there any mic out there? No? Any mic? Okay. I think they're good. They might be good.
Don't be shy, don't be afraid of yourself. If you have questions, ask. And also to all the young people interested in the opportunities in the digital economy, look for Milia Martin. Milia, stand up for you if some people don't know you, and give your name and number to Milia after the session is over. Thank you. And up next, we have Sam Raphael, developer and manager of Jungle Bay Resort and entrepreneur. So make him feel welcome, Mr. Sam Raphael.
Good evening, everyone. They've sanitized the mic according to COVID protocols, and I'm way more than 6 feet away from you, so I think we can just have a little session. I'm Sam Raphael. I don't know if many of you know who I am. When our friend here, Mr. Laville, the minister, talked about old people, I guess he was referring to me. He's throwing words in my direction, Caressa. But that's all right. You could be old in body, but youthful in mind, like my friend Minister Douglas here. Him and I are young at heart. So, guys, I'm really happy to be back here in Grand Bay. I say back here because a lot of people claim to have Grand Bay roots, but I will go and tell you my Grand Bay roots and say, it's the real deal. So my grandfather is a Thomas, Masilto Thomas, and you may know him and his family living in Block 44 in the Lally. And my grandmother came from Tetmon. So that's my roots, and my family moved. My grandmother moved to Bellevue, Chopin, when she met a gentleman. How often that happens? The women would leave or the man would leave and go to another village, and that's where I was born. So when I go back to my roots, it traces back to Grand Bay. I'm very happy to be here this evening. This is an interesting session. I am really, really impressed with the number of young people I see here today. I'm quite astonished. I don't think the minister had Paul Rep, I'm already calling him Mister. I give you a ministry already. I hope I'm not getting in trouble. I hope our candidate, I don't think the candidate knew that many people would show up here, but I think it's telling, really, Dr. Henderson, that you felt the pulse of the people, because this is exactly the conversation that the young people are interested in, the youth, your empowerment. And I'm going to speak to you on your empowerment through entrepreneurship, because that's what I know. Business. How many of you want to get into business and that's part of your journey? Just give me an idea so I'm not speaking a foreign language to people that's not interested. Give me a hand, show a hand, those persons, young persons that's started a business or interested in getting into business. Put your hands up, don't be shy. Okay, I'm seeing some in the crowd. So this apparently is one of the things that Dr. Henderson is quite interested in, because you build an economy through small businesses and through the support for small businesses. And the future belongs to the young people. So I'm an old lion. I'm an old businessman. I'm an old entrepreneur. I'm in transition. So I'm handing the baton to you. And part of what I'm here and part of my mission really is to provide foundation, background, support, information to you to help you to be successful. So I have some key points that I have, written down. I don't like to write my speeches, but I've written some things down because some things are important, and I feel I must share them with you, and I must be honest with you. Because we are on a quest to develop ourselves individually, and we're on a quest to develop the country. Speaking of developing the country, that's a big issue. You speak that in platitudes, but at the end of the day, it's one individual. It's you and me that will determine the future of Dominica. And it's you that will determine your future, your livelihood, how far you get. And I will touch on my points because one of the key points is that we should not allow our past to determine our future. I want you to think about that for a second. We should not allow our past to in any way determine our future. We do not have any control of our past. It may be our parents, it may be through the luck of birth. It's like when you're handing out your dominoes, you're shuffling on the table. If you don't cheat, you get a hand, you don't know what's in that hand. That's how we came to this place. We were dealt a hand, and that's what we have. We may be poor, we may be not so poor, we may have some handicap, we may be female, we may be male. We didn't determine any of that. So that's what we were handed. But where we go with that, that's what we decide, and you play your hand. You don't decide, well, I get a bad hand today, I'm not playing that, right? So I give up because I cannot win. There's no such thing as a hand that you cannot win with. There's a hand that may be a little easier for you to win with and a little more difficult. But I can tell you in life, if you learn to win with a difficult hand, imagine what you do when they shuffle the cards and you get a good hand, how far you'll get. So this is what I want you to have in your mind, because I run into a lot of young people. Now, part of what I do as my hobby is work with young people to nurture you, to mentor you, to help you be better business people. The Jungle Bay, we used to be in Delis area before Tropical Storm Erica, and we've since moved to the Soufriere catchment. But while we were in Delis, from 2005 to 2015, we held 5 years of a global entrepreneurship retreat program along with the youth division. And I'm glad to see Brother Paquette here. Where is he? Paquette, I cannot see you. Oh, he's at the back. You should be in front, because that's a good guy there. That's a committed man, always, and especially as it relates to young people. And so I worked with him from many, many years. And I'm not telling you, Paquette, somebody tell me about him. This is somebody that I've worked with. We work personal commitment to personal commitment with young people. So what we would do is for a week or 2 weeks, we would take the young people and we would open Jungle Bay up to them in November for no charge. We'd raise monies through the youth division, through contributors. Jungle Bay would sponsor, and we would bring these young people in and we would give them a week or 2 weeks of charging up, inspiration, technical information, and support. So when they leave, they can be very successful business people. And I see one of my mentees here, 365 MP. He's here doing the video. He's one of those that came through our Well Entrepreneurship Program. And I'm told that close to 40 young people have started businesses in Dominica that came through that program. Some doing very well. So it's something that we want to keep. Unfortunately, in 2015, as you all know, we had a tropical storm, Erica, and it did some significant damage to Jungle Bay. We started rebuilding in 2017. We opened in 2019. Good evening, Minister. We got some high-powered ministers popping in here, Dr. King. So in 2019, we reopened, and last year, again, the youth division and DYBT with Brother Paquette, we had a retreat at Jungle Bay again. This time it was mainly for young people that already have established businesses that we were helping to boost them up, take them to the next level. And so unfortunately, because of COVID, we were unable to do something this year, so I was I was very pleased, Dr. Henderson. I'm going to slip and call you Vince because he's my partner and that's how I know him. So it's no disrespect when I call you that. That's how, because we go back. So Dr. Henderson, so I was pleased. I see this forum here as really a part of this ongoing process. And, you know, even Paquette, I hope he shares some exchanges and some thoughts with me in the question and answer session because he hasn't stopped. And he's working on a prawn farm, and he's working on some specific things here in the Grand Bay constituency that's going to be very significant to the development of the community, to providing jobs, and to helping the national economy by building a supply chain for the hotel industry coming right out of Grand Bay. Right now, I can tell you our eggs come from Grand Bay, goat meat come from Grand Bay, rabbits come from Grand Bay. Where's Norman? Norman is here? Patricia, where's your husband, Norman? He's not here? What you're here? Patricia, by the way, Patricia is my cousin, Kazumi, so that's, again, going back. You see, I didn't lie, my Grand Bay roots. So he is one of my key producers of vegetables and stuff. So we buy a lot of produce from this area along with our Soufriere constituency and other areas, and it's critical. So we are interested, I'm very interested in seeing how we can boost more businesses and more young people, encourage you, help to facilitate you, help to support you, help to mentor you, so that you not only decide to go into business, but you go into business and you are successful. And I will speak to you on some points because, again, when we speak sometimes in the political arena, we like to say nice things, right? But I can't help it. I have to keep it real. So some of the things I'm going to say to you aren't going to be so sweet. But it's because of the love that I have for you young people and for the people that I'll be very honest with you in terms of some of the things we need to do. The politicians can open doors. They can help to create opportunities. But we have to step in there and we have to be ready. And we have to be fighters, and we have to have what it takes to succeed. There's an old adage that says you can give a man or a woman, I guess in this day and age, a fish and they will eat for a day. But if you teach them to fish and if they are able and learn how to fish for themselves, they will eat for a lifetime. Well, I can tell you, fishing is like money. So if you are given money for a day, you'll be rich for the day, right? And somehow you're going to spend that money, and that money is going to be gone because you won't know how to manage money. But if you learn how to make money, which is what we're here to talk about, if you learn how to make money, you'll be rich for a lifetime. And this is what I'd like to see our youth in Grand Bay and the other parts of Dominica do. They learn how to create wealth for themselves so that they have something. And you're going to get knocked down. We all do in life. You're going to run into bad situations where you're going to lose it all. I can tell you, I've had a few of those years. COVID wasn't my worst year. I had in 2015 a real horrible year when personal tragedy. My son was ill with cancer. He was actually at stage 4, and my mind was there because they told me my son was going to die. I had gotten in an aviation business. I got into one aviation crash in July while working in a project in Barbuda to develop a sister to Jungle Bay. And then by August, I was attending that same son's wedding, and then I got a call that the whole of Jungle Bay destroyed. And then by November, another airplane crash in St. Lucia. So if I was here, maybe you all would say I have Malay, huh? That's what you call it? I have Malay? Malay, yeah, that's it, yeah. So my patois is not the best, but I'm trying. You would say I have Malay. Somebody told me I need to go and get a little bush bath because there's no way to get out of it. Another partner told me I need to go and start drinking because things so bad. But as an entrepreneur and as somebody that knows business, you know you're going to reach those situations, but you're going to turn it around. And I can tell you, in a few years, you're going to be better off than you were before. And we see this happen over and over to very successful people, even very successful countries. They may have wars, but their people have know-how, and they go through those struggles, and when they come up, they're back on top again. And the other people who don't have the know-how, they're sitting wondering, well, how come we're not like these people? That's because we don't have the capacity, and we have not developed the capacity in ourselves. And this is what I want to encourage you as young people to concentrate on. The money will come. The money is not really the end all. The capacity is the important thing. Because when you have the capacity to do something, no one can take that from you. When you have money, you can lose it. So I've rebuilt Jungle Bay. It's looking fantastic. But God forbid we have a volcanic eruption in my area. What happened? Insurance say they don't cover force majeure, which is they don't cover natural occurrences. Boom, I'm back to scratch, right? Am I a poor man? Never. Because I can build it even better. So that's what I'm going to encourage you guys to do, is to develop the capacity within yourselves so that you can earn for yourselves, you can leverage, you can create things for yourselves, because no one can take that from you. And this is not just your business. Some of you here maybe aren't interested in going into business. You're interested in developing a skill so that you can be very good at whatever it is, you know, any field that you want to get into. But prepare yourself in that area. Take the training. We're doing some training for spa attendants now at Jungle Bay. So I tell the spa attendants, when you get this 3 months of training and 2 years of apprenticeship, I cannot take that from you at that point. I can fire you. Hopefully I won't do that, because hopefully they'll be good workers. Or you can leave, but you leave with that training, and that training is worth, you put a price on it. So it's about developing ourselves, and when we develop ourselves, no one can take that from us. So I want to give you guys a few points on entrepreneurship that I've written down. I hope you can at least take that with you. I know the crowd is, you know, it's large and everyone may not be interested per se, but there are some things in this message that will apply to you. So I take it in that spirit, yeah? And at the end, I'll open myself up for questions. Actually, Kenny Green is going to speak immediately after me, and he is an entrepreneur also. And the Minister Kasani spoke on the digital economy, and Kenny is very much into digital enterprises. So it's kind of a nexus, a link between what Minister Laville said, and I'm pure entrepreneurs. So I think the three of us, there's a connection there, yeah? So you'll have an opportunity to engage. But what does entrepreneurship mean? What is an entrepreneur? That means that someone that wants to start and run a business, or want to take an existing business and make changes and innovate. So you cannot be an entrepreneur and want to go sit in a shop and keep the shop going like your grandfather used to have it 100 years ago, and you're not an entrepreneur. You're running a shop. It's when you take that shop and you say, let you make some changes here, let you start introducing some new products, let you start selling online and so on, and we have all this technology available that you can call yourself an entrepreneur. And what are the keys to being a successful entrepreneur? And I think I have 9 of those points, and I want you to listen to them carefully, okay? The first is what I talked about a moment ago. Do not let your background dictate your future. Some of us, I don't know, we were conditioned to think that way. We came from humble beginnings. We all did. I came from humble beginnings myself. You know, my grandmother, when she had that outside stove, you all don't even have that anymore, right? She had that outside kitchen in the yard, and you have to go to the next door neighbor and get fire when her fire out, and bring the fire quickly before it burn you. And you gave your mom the fire, and she put it and she fan it, yeah? And so my grandmother was humble, and my grandmother would say she would never let the neighbors see when she don't have. So she had a big black pot, and when my grandmother didn't have, she would send and get seasoning. She always have seasoning though. She may not have food, but she always have seasoning in the yard. and she put some save, and she put some thyme, and she put some seasoning in the pot, and she stirred that pot. Every neighbor have to be jealous. They say, man, Johnny, always have good food. Eh? But there's no food in the pot, but she's not letting you know that because she's fighting. Because, success likes successful people. And if you go in and hold in your head and say, I'm sorry for myself, who's going to want to be around you? Who's going to want to link up with you? You got to carry yourself in a successful way. So the key is you now have to point to the future and shape that future, and you can do anything you want to do. When I was a little boy, my father left Dominica 1 year, and my mother left with us. It was 5 children the next year. He was a laborer in Bellevue, Chopin, and a strong supporter of the Dominica Labour Party, both my parents, before they left. And he went to work, like many people emigrate, and trying to create a better life for his family. Well, he sent for my mom, but my mom didn't tell us that we were going until 3 days before the flight. And you know them old-style people, they say they don't want anyone to mess them up. You all know what that is, right? So my mother, believing that, she says she don't want anyone to mess her up, so she didn't tell us she was going to St. Croix. But when my mother told us, the kids, that she's going to St. Croix, it was 5 boys, but 3 of us were a little bigger. My older brother was very excited to move to a new place, and, it's a new beginning, and excited to move, the adventure. The brother, I was the second, the one after me, he was excited too, but I was scared, I was nervous. I was not too happy about that. So I'll tell you about my background, because the only vehicle that I had ever been on at that point was on the back of a lorry. You all know what the lorry is? That was the old truck. Yes, the truck. So that's the only vehicle I knew, that we would get on the back of a lorry sometime on occasion when my mother would take me to Roseau with her. And there was an accident with a lorry not too long before they had decided that we were moving to St. Croix. And people died. And I thought an airplane was like a lorry. So I thought maybe they would make me sit on the end of that airplane high up in the sky. And what if I fall down? So I was scared. I didn't want to go. So that was my background. And years later, I ended up owning not just an airplane, but an airline in 1 generation. So I did not allow my past, what you would call poverty. I don't even believe I was poor. I don't believe because I never had that in mind, and we were not taught to be poor. Poverty is a state of mind. And so I never thought for a minute when I was a kid that I would own an airline, but once you set your mind to it, you can achieve anything that you set out to do. So guys, it's raining outside and you had to congregate a little, but please keep your mask on, everyone, so that because it's a COVID time and we have to take this thing seriously, okay? I know our candidate is very responsible and we want to ensure, so I'm taking the liberty to tell you that on his behalf, let us make sure that we recognize protocols as much as possible, yeah? Another key to being successful is that you have to be tenacious and determined. You don't take no for an answer. You go to the bank and you try to get a loan and they tell you so and so, and you discourage and you say, I forget about that, right? How many of us are like that? You get a little pushback and you forget about it. You don't like to no, right? You forget about that. You can't be successful if you accept no. You're gonna go back, make changes to your business plan, learn from what the loan officer explained to you, and you're going to go back the next day. And you know what? If you go back every day, that loan officer is going to give you a loan because they will be tired of you. And sometimes you have to be that pushy and tenacious if you want to be successful. So when you look at successful people, they didn't get up one day and money show up in their bank and it's a C1 and things are good. We've had to struggle through severe adversities and had to be tenacious. So you have to be tenacious. Another thing is you have to be 100% committed to your business. And again, if we're talking about careers in, different, whether you want to be an electrician, a plumber, a doctor, whatever it is. It's not fine to just achieve and say, well, I am a plumber, I am a doctor, I am a clerk in an office, or I am someone making money, through the digital economy. It's not okay to do that. You always have to keep striving to improve yourself. Because there's somebody that's right behind you when that time for promotion or that time for someone to do business with someone, they are there and they're going to go the extra mile. So you have to be sure that the third point is always be 100% committed to your business. The fourth thing is you need to know that you must shine and adversity, when bad things happen, when COVID hit, when hurricanes hit, when you have personal situations and it knock you down, don't let it knock you out. Knockdown is not a knockout if you get up and fight. And all that means is you will learn from the adversity and it will make you stronger. So when you have situations where people put you down, you may have your business plan and you're well on your way and you're well excited and you're in a zone, and then you tell somebody about it and the next thing they tell you, that's not making sense. Why you want it? That's not making sense. And then you cower and then that's it. You forget about that. When I was building the original Jungle Bay, the people used to laugh at me, They say that is a mad fella. He building cabe in the bush for Sukuyan. You know the cabe? Yeah, they say I was building cabe in the bush for Sukuyan. And if I would allow people to influence my thinking, I wouldn't finish. So it's whatever you're doing, you're going to have somebody next to you that's probably going to be a discourager. Surround yourself with positive people. And you yourself have that fire in your bosom. You know what you're doing. Do not allow people to discourage you when you're trying to do something for yourself, okay? And again, the fifth one, it flows right into that because it says to surround yourself with positive people and positive energy. If you don't have positive people around you, you all have smartphones, download some positive vibes on that. There's a lot of affirmations you could say in the morning to keep you going. There are prayers you could say to keep you going. You could listen to positive music that keeps you going. You could read positive books. You need to get that positive energy to keep yourself going, because there will be times that things will happen that will set you back, and you've got to come swinging, because at the end, every successful person go through horrible times. They may not show it, they may not tell you as I'm telling you, but it happens to each and every one of us. Kenny Green can come and he can give you situations where his back is against the wall. He hasn't told me that, but he's a successful person. And I know every successful person have to go through that. I've gone through it in the past and I will in the future. You just pick up and keep fighting, yeah? And not the sixth thing is, and we're getting to the 9, but the sixth point is you need to practice good habits and good discipline. We are creatures of practice. If you want to be strong, you have to exercise. And you need to exercise your mind and your body. It's not okay to just exercise your mind. Everybody may not agree with that, but I say you have to build the physical stamina and the mental stamina together as much as possible. You may have a physical handicap that may not, make you the fastest runner or whatever, but at least push yourself. And when you say you can only walk from point A to point B, tomorrow push yourself to a little more. Push yourself and exceed your expectations. One of the things that we had at our old Jungle Bay and during the entrepreneurship retreat, we used to make them climb that hill going up on top to between Delis and Petit Savan. You all know that Monpey Bush? So part of the program was everybody had to climb that every day. And some people were not happy when they first came. I remember this young lady from Silver Lake. She was a little, big in size, and nobody ever really pushed her to be physical. She came to learn about entrepreneurship and why does she had, so they started grumbling. I said, no. You got to make it, you got to push. So they didn't make it the first day, the second day. By the third day, she did it. And by the sixth day, at the end of the program, she got up to do a testimonial. And this is what she said. She said, Mr. Sam, I have to apologize to you. I said, for what? She said, because in my mind, I said you were a wicked man. I said, why would you say that? She said, because you made us climb up that hill. And while I'm walking up that hill, I said, that is a wicked man to make me climb up that hill. And now I could see why it is that you push me, because now I can do things that I never thought I would be able to do. So the people that love you aren't the people that always tell you nice things. The people, your mother, if she loves you, will she let you go and do what you want? You all have young kids, some of you. Would you let your kids do what you want because you love them so much? Again, my grandmother used to have a saying in Patois that monkey like their children so much that it killed them. That's what happens. People that love you will give you tough love, and they will give you honest criticism. They'll try not to put you down, but take it in the spirit of love and use it to improve on yourself and your performance. Yeah? The seventh point is you need to be a lifelong learner. You've never learned it all. And every day I'm learning. Every day all successful people are learning. We push ourselves. And when we're finished learning is when we need to go in that box and you put us 6 feet. Because earth is not for perfect people. There's always room for learning and always room for improvement. And the number 8 is a very important point, and I want to point this out to you because the prevailing discussion and thinking and what you've been fed is that luck and money, you fall into some people's lap, and they don't fall into your lap, right? So-and-so lucky, that is a lucky fella. That's not luck. Lucky people create their luck. They create their luck. They leverage their relationships. They leverage whatever money they have, and when I say leverage, they take $1 and make it work like it's 2 or like 5. And they multiply it. That's what you do. And you create things. So you need to learn how to create money, and I would dare say create your luck by doing the preparation, doing the correct things, so that when that opportunity comes, you're in a position to take advantage of it. If I'm selling that plot of land next to us there and I say it's $10,000 for that plot of land, that's a big plot. Let's say I say $10,000, anybody have $10,000? If you don't have $10,000, you can't buy that land. It's not whether you're lucky or not. You have saved and you have created that situation where you can take advantage of the opportunities. So it's not luck that fell from someone's lap. It's that you have created those opportunities for yourself. And the last thing I will leave with you is a simple admonition to dream big. Don't sit down and say, well, I just want to open a little thing and that is all I want to do. No, plan, dream big. Because if you shoot for the stars, maybe you'll end up on the moon. But if you start shooting for the moon and you fall short, where are you going to end up? There's nothing in between. So you got to push yourself. And if maybe you don't attain ultimately what you want to do, notwithstanding, you'll still be very successful, yeah? So I will wind down now because I know there are other speakers and you didn't come to hear me, you came to hear Dr. Henderson. But again, Dr. Henderson, thank you so much for providing a forum for me to talk to these very fine folks. Folks, the fact that you showed up and you came here today says a lot to me, that you're serious and that you're interested. I just want you to keep focused on that. Some of these points that I gave you, stay positive. You have a lot of negative vibe and a lot of negative energy, and that seemed to attract some people. Don't get caught up in that. Do not get caught up in that. Everything is never going to be as we want it. Never. But we make the most of it, and we take one, and $1 million started with $1. So if it's $1 you have, save 50 cents. Tomorrow, you'll add another 50 cents. And $1 million started with $1, and that's where you'll be. So work hard, focus on yourself, your development, and your family. Practice good habits. Dream big. Prepare yourself. And the world is your oyster. The future belongs to the youth. So I'm looking forward to see you guys, and I'm standing by ready to provide any kind of support that I can to help you to further your lifelong dreams. Yeah? So thank you so much, and I'm open to any questions or comments you wish to share. Paquette, maybe you can come up and have a first comment, huh? Where is he? Paquette, you're not shy. I know you're not shy. come and tell us a little about the maybe what we're doing with Global Entrepreneurship Week. And I know you, Ed, myself, we talked about a lot of initiatives here for Grand Bay. So I don't know, where is Mr. Paquette? Julian? Okay, maybe he may have had to do a run. Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
I would like to thank Mr. Sam Raphael for those words. Those words are words we can take to move forward. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Raphael? And one thing I do like it for us tonight, I know we have a lot of questions outside there. Like the Minister of Digital, he spoke, and we have a lot of laptop questions outside there, and I didn't ask him anything. You check? I know the thing, ask him any question. Like we have Sam Raphael there, entrepreneurship. There are a lot of entrepreneurship people outside there. See, no, they call the name. Ask the questions, man. Spark the discussion. Don't fret on yourself. That's what he's trying to do. Yeah, man. Yeah, but before we move before we go any further, I would like to welcome Dr. Adiskin, the Minister of Youth. Make her feel welcome and give a round of applause. And we'd like to also welcome Kenny Green, another entrepreneur who's going to speak to us next.
Grand Bay, good night. I'd like to, I expect that protocol has been established already, so that allows me to get away without having to say all the names before. I'm happy to be here. Dr. Henderson, thank you for inviting me. And Sam is someone who always encourages me to attend these events because I have a link with Sam because of his WEF events. He used to have events at the old Jungle Bay where he would invite us to speak to young people. So this, I'm saying this because this isn't just about Sam and myself being invited by Dr. Henderson. This is about helping people who clearly have a need, have a desire to make something more out of their lives. And it's a good thing because you have a prospective PAL rep who is looking almost to be like the guy who's going to take on your dreams and your hopes. And you have to take that very seriously because you get one chance often to be able to start anew. And I'm not saying that you don't get multiple chances, but when you get a chance with a new PAL rep, with someone who is eager to help you to make better of yourself, then you need to seize the moment. So Sam spoke about the importance of aspiring to be better, to be successful. But it starts, in my opinion, with something very, very important, and that is education. Many of us here in Dominica, no matter where you come from, I would say that the most important thing that your parents would have passed on to you is the need for you to get educated. I know because in my family, I was the first to be a university graduate. So if there's one thing my mother would beat me over, it was not doing my schoolwork. And all of you have the same, upbringing, I am sure, no matter where you come from. So the first thing I'd like to say to you out there is that it doesn't matter what dreams you have, what hopes you have, what you want to do. It has to start with an education because it's the greatest equalizer. You can come from a background in which you have nothing, but if you have an education, it creates a start for you. So if that's going to put pressure on your PAL rep to make sure that education, and when I say education, I don't just mean a college education. I don't just mean a secondary school education. I don't just mean a university education, but education is also training. And there's a lot of young men, and we have a crisis, globally of young men. Everywhere you go, you see in opportunities, you see young women. And that is why, again, Sam and myself have often concentrated on trying to help young men because not everyone is educated in the same way. When I went to college, I went to the educational wing of the CIVOCOL, the state college at the time. but there were others who went to the technical wing. Now this new state college has brought everyone together, so you have both the technical and the normal educational, the normal subjects, the arts, the sciences, etc. But as we saw from Hurricane Maria, it didn't do you much good to be a chemistry graduate if you needed your roof fixed. So let us not put aside the need to learn technical skills. And that is where being able to come to your PAL rep and look for not just an opportunity to get an education in the formal sense, but to be able to get training, to get an opening in jobs. So let me just give you an idea of my background. So I went to the St. Mary's Academy, the SMA. I'm an SMA old boy. And from SMA, I went to Civil Call, to the State College, which it is now. And then I went to college in the UK and university. But I didn't get a scholarship or anything like that from State College days. So what we have now in Dominica, this education revolution, I think many of you need to understand that that is the biggest platform that you have. Because when you get that education, when you get in, if you take it seriously, the lessons that you can learn from this will propel you throughout life. The other thing is, and we're speaking about entrepreneurship, it's very important for you to understand this. Entrepreneurship doesn't have to start with you going on your own. There's nothing wrong with starting off in a job, to starting off at the lowest level possible. There's nothing wrong with it. It's hard work. Yes, you might not make the amount of money that you want to make, and now is more difficult than it ever used to be. When I grew up, I know Sam kind of alluded to it. When I grew up, we didn't have exposure to the social media and Facebook and TV to the level, so we didn't know what we didn't have. And that's a big deal. It makes it tougher for you. But it also means that with the educational opportunities you have, you get a chance to move faster and quicker than we did. I mean, I was always impatient, but learning is a process. And it also means, and I'll come to the digital economy, it's not enough to be able to get on the internet. It's not enough to browse on Facebook or social media. Very rarely, you may see some people on Instagram, and I'm speaking for the people who know those platforms, who make money from being influencers, but very few people make it at that level. So you have to be prepared for a long haul. And that long haul means that you need people in positions of influence, not only to show faith in you, but to give you starting opportunities. And that's very important. You need to start. It doesn't mean that you have to get a great paying job from day one, but if you get in on the ladder, it means you have an opportunity. And for those of you who are here, who is going to have a chance to interact with your prospective PAL rep, one of the things that you have to be able to communicate is, give me an opportunity. Because everything starts with an opportunity. And if you take that opportunity, it then allows you to get noticed. Because I can tell you as an employer, one of the things that we do is we always have to be in a position as employers to be able to do what you do for us. And the reason is that as an employer, you always want to set the example that we're not totally dependent on you, that we set the example, that we know what to do, and that you, on the other hand, are going to follow our example. So my work ethic is brutal. I don't expect anybody to follow it, but I can go 20, 23 hours without sleep, easily. And that's because I want to achieve certain things, and I won't stop until I get it. Now, if I'm willing to do that at this stage of my life, you guys out there should be able to do it. And there are opportunities. For the young men, for the young women, there are opportunities not just in the digital economy,
but across the economy. But you have to be open to grab those opportunities, and you have to ask for the opportunities. Your PAL rep, your prospective PAL rep, will not give you anything that you won't ask for. They will work to your aspirations and your goals. They will try to elevate you, but you have to know what to ask for. And that magic word, give me an opportunity, can go from education, can go from employment, it can go from being able to take part in a skills training exercise. I know that there are opportunities with DYBT. There's opportunities to get in at the state college. There's opportunity to come in on the training programs. But you have to ask. Because if you don't ask to get involved, you won't get in. So it's very, very important. But let's come back to what makes a successful entrepreneur from young people. And some of you here have to come to the reckoning that it takes a while to get to where you want to go. It's a tough thing to tell people in a forum, because it'd be nice to tell you that within a couple of years, you're going to be living the life that you want to live. But it takes longer than that. And because of that, you need to be able to get the right opportunities and to grab those opportunities. So in the digital economy, for example, you start with a digital device. You start with being able to access and having internet, which to some of us is actually a big deal, because if you haven't got access to online, then you don't have access to some of the tools that you need to be able to progress yourself. But then you need to be able to understand the tools that are out there and how you're going to use them and how you're going to facilitate yourself. Since Maria, there's been a wave of businesses that have opened. And they've opened because young people in the main, and I'll give a shout out to one, Quick Delivery, for example. Young people have seen opportunities and they've seized them. And you have to be able to do that. And how do you seize those opportunities? You look around your communities. You look around Dominica. Grand Bay is not on its own. Grand Bay sits in Dominica. The skills that you have can serve everyone in Dominica, can serve St. Lucia, can serve St. Vincent, can serve Antigua. That's the beauty of the digital economy. And if you look at where we are right now, in this stage of our development, it doesn't take much for a young man, for example, or a young woman who has web designer skills or has the ability to write an app to be able to provide services from their home. This is something that never existed before. I had to leave Dominica to get some of the opportunities that you have now. Now you can stay in your home and you can register on a freelance site online and code and write apps, and you can even do help desk support from your own home for companies outside of Dominica without ever compromising your own comfort. We never had this before. So if the opportunity for you now exists around simply being able to get access to a better device, to internet, to be able to have training, those put you on the ladder. And so there's a lot of people who don't speak about the things that it takes to make them successful. And let me give you a little secret. Success starts with the first step that you did not think that you were able to do before you actually took it. So for the young woman or young man who's working at Clare Harbor and is making enough money to pay their bills whilst being able to work even through the pandemic, even through Hurricane Maria, that is a huge success. Okay, if you look at the responses to these disasters that we have now, you are still able to make an income if you have the right services and the right knowledge. So I'd like all of you. I'd like all of you to spend time thinking about what you need. Not what you want, but what you need. What do you need to become successful? For me, it was just an education. I didn't have anything else. But once I got an education, it set me apart, because if you have an education and you can prove that you can work harder and smarter than the next guy, you'll move up the ladder quicker. And that goes for every one of you here. What do you need? Do you need an education? I'd say to you, everyone here who's young and who's even older, yes, you need an education. So that should be one of the first things that you should be looking to do, is to increase your knowledge. What do you need? Do you need a job? Well, you can't just get a job. You sometimes need to get an education first. So you come back to square one. You need an education. But also, do you need to create a job for yourself? If you need to create a job, you need the tools. And what are the tools? You need access to online tools. You need digital devices. And you also need mentoring. And we can provide those things. I know Sam is very eager about that, and that is some of the things that we can provide. But I'm going to tell you right now, you have an opportunity, and that opportunity exists that you've got someone new, you've got someone who's passionate about making you feel that you're going to succeed, because he is also a product of education. And Grand Bay is no different from any other community. People in Dominica are all the same. Our parents want us to get educated. Our parents want us to do better than they did. That's a common denominator. It's a common thing between all of us. So I want all of you to think about not what you want, but what you need to become successful. And what you need starts with an education, and it also starts with the willingness to work hard. And if you do that, I can guarantee you that in a few years' time, some of you here will be standing up here talking to others in your community, and that is what success is about. So I'd like everyone here to consider that this now is an opportunity for you to start something special for yourself and your families, and to also to become more vested, meaning becoming more involved in your own personal development. And it starts with the man at the head table there, Dr. Vince Henderson. Thank you very much, Grand Bay. Good luck to everyone here.
Yeah, man, we're getting a lot of vital and expensive information this evening. Big up Mr. Green, big up Mr. Raphael. I hope we're not only listening and taking notes, because those are people who are actually doing the thing, man. Also, people who would like to learn a skill, you good for your hands, look for Jackie. Where's Jackie? Jackie, you can show your face so that they can see you. Yeah, Jackie. Give your names to Jackie. And also those interested in the digital economy, look for Milia, don't forget. Now, maybe the man that we have been waiting for all night, the DLP candidate for the Labour Party in the by-elections on the 25th of November, Dr. Vince Henderson. So make him feel welcome, man. You're not ready.
Thank you very much, Dean. And special good evening to all of you. Let me take the opportunity to recognize Honorable Ian Douglas, Minister for Trade and Member of Parliament for the Portsmouth constituency, Honorable Dr. Addis King, Minister of Youth and Member of Parliament for the St. Joseph constituency, Honorable Kasani Laville, Minister for Public Works and the Digital Economy, Honorable Gregory Riviere, Minister of State, with a long portfolio that I hope you will forgive me if I don't state it all. And I want to recognize this evening our guest, Mr. Sam Raphael, the proprietor developer, creator of Jungle Bay, because Jungle Bay is a big concept, not just a hotel. And an entrepreneur from here in the south of Dominica. And of course, Mr. Kenny Green, the immediate past president of the Dominica Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Commerce, yes. Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce. But most of all, I want to say a special good evening. Oh, my friend and student. Sorry, Honorable Nichols Esprit, Senator. My apologies. I guess, sometimes familiarity, they say. But ladies and gentlemen, the young people of the Grand Bay constituency, and before my good friends from Bordeaux vex with me, I want to say a special good night to them and Grand Colibri, Tetmon and Montin. Thank you for coming down to Grand Bay to join us. I want to say a special good evening to all of you young people, and thank you for joining us here this evening. I also want to, earlier on, I know some people say about some of us not so young, but those of us that are not so young, thank you for coming too. And you're welcome. And you also have an opportunity for entrepreneurship, so don't hesitate to register if there is something that you want to learn about the digital economy. And if you want to learn a skill as well, we welcome you also. So thank you for joining us. This evening, there are so many things that we've heard. And some of the very important things that we've heard, I hope they have caused us to stop for a while and think. I know it was a lot of stuff, because when you get somebody like Sam Raphael, you'll pay a lot of money for a speaker of his caliber. And he did this for us for free. So we really need to thank Sam for that presentation he gave us this evening. But he left with us some lessons, and we must think about them. But I listened to him, and there is something he said that really struck me. And Kenny Green said the same thing, It is not where we're from that determines where we end up going. It is a journey. And while he was saying that, and he was claiming his roots and was pointing at me by saying, those who claim they're from Grand Bay, I know it's me he was talking about. But I will tell you, Sam, my great uncle who grew up in Back Street, and that was not in St. Joe, it's in Grand Bay, Dr. Tom Henderson, came from humble beginnings. And he became one of the premier professors at the University of the West Indies. Some of you may not know him. They used to call him Horatio. Some people call him CA. He became the professor at UWI to develop what we now know as extension services. He's the one who created that concept. And his son, by the way, who is an attorney at law, is the Caribbean only jurist who now sits on the international court. So you don't even know the kind of people that Grand Bay have produced. I'm just telling you two of them this evening. Now, something else that I want to say, and I'm looking at a lot of young people there. Some of them, they didn't even know me when I was a minister. I just realized how much time have passed, because we started here in 2000. And look at the amount of time. So I just want to tell some of you, the younger ones, I know that you don't even remember how Dominica was. Well, you didn't know. You grew up so accustomed to so many things that you didn't have any idea how it was before, But your parents should tell you. Some of you who go to school, you don't know how it used to be. When we had to get to high school, they don't even know. They do, how do you call it now, the exam we set up? How do they call it? The exam they do at grade 6. The grade 6 national assessment. They don't even know what used to be there before, You remember common entrance? And I'm saying this, I'm going to give you a little lesson. We used to have to sit common entrance. Some of you had migrated, so you maybe don't know that, but can you remember that? We had to do common entrance, and if there were not enough spaces at the secondary school, you don't pass, So it wasn't because you were not smart enough. It's because you didn't have space at the high school. So you couldn't go to high school. No. Most of you young people I see here, you didn't have that problem. You just went to high school, you did your grade 6 assessment, and you went to high school. And you know the other thing that you didn't know? When I went to school, well, I got a bursary, so I had my books, and my good partner from St. Joe was working in the Ministry of Education, so he always made sure I had books. But you know how my mother used to go away to get books? We couldn't afford books. Now today, you went to school and you never had to worry about books because your government provided your books. And you remember when we used to go to school with your one pants and your one shirt, and you have to make sure you don't dirty it too much because your mother couldn't afford it? Well, I myself was so good, I learned to sew. I could sew, I could iron, I could wash because I have to take care of my two shirts there, my one pants. And when you get the pants and the thing too large and you want to put a little style, you have to give the thing gun mouth, you know? You have to sew it. You have to sew it and make gun mouth. So I learned to sew by my neighbor. That is what we went through. But now, we just go for our LPOE and we get new uniforms. Isn't that true? I am saying these things because sometimes we forget how things were. And I am starting with this to get to a very important point. And let us look at, some of you are so young, you don't even know that so many things that you take for granted today, you enjoy today, that they were not there before. And I want you to know that it is the Dominica Labour Party that have brought most of these changes to Dominica. Now, I spoke about common entrance. I want to go a little further to college. When Andy, where Dr. Sentile is not here tonight, he's on 24-hour shift or something. When Andy and I went to sixth form, back then it was the Clifton Dupini Community College, CDCC. I sure maybe Andy alone from Granby that was at sixth form. Well, maybe here, I remember Cheryl St. Bernard was there with us, some people. But back then, I was the only one from my class, from Isaiah, well, it was St. Joseph Secondary School at the time, St. Joe campus. I was the only one that year who went to college. And another fella, Philip Braid, was a year before me. We were the two who were at college. There was not enough space for us. So after we did our CXC, and yeah, we couldn't get 10s and 12s and 1s and stuff. But when we did CXC, there was not enough space for us. So even if we had gotten, you know, our 1s and 2s, and I want to talk to my constituent and explain to him how the CXC thing works, but I'll meet him down the road sometime. So when you had the subjects, but there was just not enough space at college. So only 250 students could go to college any 1 year. Now, how many of you young people here have a problem getting a space at college? No, nobody has a problem. Once you have the basic requirements, there is a space for you. And that is what Roosevelt Skerrit and the Dominica Labour Party have done for young people. So sometimes I hear your cry, and I know we all want more and better for ourselves. But I just want you to remember what we have done for you since 2000. Because some people might try to tell you otherwise. But those things that you enjoy today, they were never there before. They were not there for people like me, you know. And today we enjoy them and we seem to take them for granted. But tonight we want to talk about building our youth for the future and building a future for our youth. And I'm speaking to you here in the Granby constituency, so I will seek to address you directly. But I will also tell you what your government, the Dominica Labour Party administration, led by Roosevelt Skerrit, and all of these great ministers that we have here, have been doing for you, and are and will continue to do for you. So, in order for us to get opportunities, I know some of you, you want jobs, and yes, everyone deserves to get a good paying job. And I know some of you want to be entrepreneurs, and you heard Sam Raphael and Kenny Green talk about entrepreneurship. But in order for those things to happen, the government must make them happen, must create what they like to call the enabling environment. So, let us look at what our government is doing for us. First, we spoke about the digital technology, and I want you to take this seriously. Please, please, those of you who are interested in doing something in the digital economy, taking advantage of the opportunities, please register with us. Check Millie Martin. Let her have your name, your number, and we can ensure that the ministry will get in touch with you to let you know what opportunities are there for you. So please, I want you to take advantage of those opportunities. We also have been developing the agricultural sector, and we will talk about that in more details when we meet the farmers. But we will talk about that. And so far, I know one of the biggest concerns, especially for young people in agriculture, is how agriculture can be less labor intensive. So it's not hard work, and it's easy to get to your farms. It's easy to have technology and to ensure that you can be more productive and you can make money, because that's why you farm. If you go into farming, it's to make money. So we have been improving access. And in this constituency, one of the key areas that we will be investing in, and I know that over 700 meters of road have been approved for construction or improvement in the Makaton area, and we're hoping that it will be of benefit to you, even as young people. But more importantly, we want to ensure that you have the right tools to be good and to be productive. So greenhouse technology, we will be pushing a lot of that. We will be pushing access to equipment, to inputs, and those are the things that we can do to help you so that you can help yourselves. And I hope that you will be prepared to take advantage of these opportunities. In livestock, and Minister Grant was with us a few days ago, and we spoke briefly about how we can help farmers, especially young farmers here, in providing the necessary equipment that they need to get into livestock farming. So to ensure that you can have what you need, we will assist you. And that is an area that I hope we can take advantage of, because you heard what Mr. Sam Raphael said. He's buying stuff, he's buying eggs, he's buying rabbits, he's buying all sorts of things. And we must ensure that we can produce so that we can be able to sell and to earn a decent income from these opportunities. And that's why I brought him here, because I brought him here to make sure he buy your stuff. I didn't just bring him there to tell you nice words, and I hope you listen to the nice words. But also, he as an entrepreneur will help us to identify opportunities for development, tourism especially. And we will talk about that a little more. But we also have to look at training, skills training, university training. And again, earlier I spoke about the State College. But we must also remember, and I see some of our graduates here, where the recent graduates, where are you from the universities that we send you to study somewhere? Or you're studying somewhere, let me see you. Where are you? Just put up your hands, let us see you. Yes, my good friend, studying in Cuba. Where is our graduate from China? Where is she? And I just saw Dr. Jacob the other day down the road, yesterday, on the Lale. So we have a lot of our products, students we help so that they could pursue studies overseas. Now, before the Labour Party, that was not something you could get easily. You couldn't get that. Because I struggled to get a university degree, and I had to pay for it myself. But those of you, so many of you have benefited. And I was happy to have been part of that when I was Minister for Education, because I think we had a record at that time. We just started sending, we got scholarships in Cuba, in Venezuela. I see some of the Popan girls from Bordeaux. Their sister was one of the first students I got to Venezuela. I got most here to Venezuela. I myself personally brought them to Venezuela. We brought a group of them to Grambling in Louisiana and China as well. Where's Daryl Teet? Daryl Teet was one of the first students we brought to China to study. So we were able to open up these opportunities for you, but you must be willing to take advantage of them. So I hope by next academic year, our list for students who want to go and study at university level, necessarily to leave Dominica, because thank God for distance learning. I want to see that list, that long list, so that we can go and find out where we can send you to study. And we have opened so many opportunities in Morocco, at UE. We've provided support. And I see our soon-to-be lawyer. Where is she? Miss St. Louis. And then we have another one who's being called to the bar, who's going to be called to the bar very, very soon. Miss Pharaoh. So we have people in our communities who are excelling, who are taking advantage of the opportunities that the government is providing. And I hope that some of you here this evening will be willing to take advantage of more of those opportunities. So that is something that I will be looking forward to when I become your representative, to ensure that you too can take advantage of these opportunities. Because I'll tell you something. I heard a fella was giving me was trying, because fellas can't give me blues. Myself is St. Dry from an hour in Grand Bay, so man can't give me blues. I heard a fella trying to give me blues the other day, saying that when I was as ambassador, I spent my time going to school. But you know, I'm not ambassador again. And all what I get there, I still have it. I want him to know that. Because as I told him, what you do with your time is your business. So I'm saying that to give you a serious message. I worked, I went to school on weekends, I went to school at nights, and I ensure that I made the sacrifice. You too can do it. Don't ever tell yourself you don't have time. You can make time. I got my first law degree while I was sitting in the cabinet with Ian Douglas. I would take my time, didn't sleep much, but at the end of the day, it paid off. You can set your mind, make up your mind. And let me tell you something. Sometimes people look at people and they don't know where they're from, you know. People think you always had it good, you know. I mean, you dress nice, well, them days I start cutting my hair again. You take a nice coat, you start looking bright, you speak nice English, people think, you know, monsieur, préjugé, monsieur, sorti, check côté. People judge people too fast. When I grew up, and I went to visit a lady the other day, and I saw where she and her children were living, and all I could remember is that little house in Backstreet St. Joseph I grew up in. And things were so bad. My grandfather used to turn off the lights when I studied because he's saying, "Gasa, makape pusa." And I went through those struggles. I used to spend most of my time at the high school because the best place to go and study, free light, you have space, because if you're in a little house, 5 of all you in one bedroom, where you going to study? So I had to spend my time up at the school. And at one time, an old lady told my grandmother, "Manato ela, ika fe mwen la pen we, gonza fa la ifuna, ika toujou marche vers sakasido." I used to carry my books, go up by the school, up and down, up and down. That was my line. So I see a lot of people and I can identify with you, and that is what drives me. And I'm serious about this. I know some people may question people's motives. You don't know what's in a man's mind. Watch his actions, and that will tell you the kind of person he is. But I don't know the struggle, and when I encourage you to do those things, I am not just telling you to do something that's impossible. I'm telling you to do something that I myself have done. So I want you to do it for yourself. But as we move on, I know some of you are anxious because you really want to know how your lives are going to be better. And again, I want to talk about something that people have been talking about. I've moved around. The NEP. The NEP. Do you know that before Labour Party, before Roosevelt's carried in government, there was no such thing as NEP? I mean, I know some of you on the NEP have concerns, and we listen to them, and we've taken notes, and we are working to improve some of those things. Some of you have been there for a while, and you want permanent employment. Yes, we are working. We are working to ensure that you can switch it to permanent employment. But the NEP was created. You know how it was created? When we started sending all the students and they start coming back, and we felt that it was an opportunity for them, and that time I think Nurse was your PAL rep. And, you know, she came with a long list of people who came back from studying. All of us had some. And they could not get jobs in the system. They were at their homes. Just as I saw a couple of them recently. And thank you, Minister, you were able to respond very quickly to one of them who graduated from university but was at home for a few months. And we were able to do something. So we were able to create the NEP for that purpose, but it was supposed to be for a limited time. So they worked for a couple years, and if they were good enough, they would get a permanent position. Unfortunately, some of you have been there for a little while, but we're working on that. And as opportunities increase, as the economy grows, you will get permanent positions. Just have some patience. We are working to ensure that we can upgrade your status of employment. But I just want you to always remember, anyway, NEP. NEP is Roosevelt Skerritt's production, his creation, because he wanted to ensure that people had work. And we have to make it better. We will do that. So the NEP is one. And I want to tell you another one, you know. So while I'm talking to you young people, because sometimes young people, we think that if the government doesn't do something for us directly, the government hasn't done anything for us. When the government ensures that your grandmother is given care through Yes We Care, that is a direct benefit to you. Because it means the money you earn, you don't have to go taking care of Granny because the government is taking care of her. When they turn 70, you know those, and many, and again, I remember when we started that. Ian, you remember, we had a lot of people who worked all their lives but did not qualify for pension. They worked as laborers, they worked somewhere, they could not get a pension. Their contribution to Social Security wasn't enough to give them a little money at the end of their day in their retirement. And it was this administration that created the 70-plus special allowance. And again, we're doing this to benefit you because it means you don't have to spend that money taking care of your parents. Now, we need to talk about creating more opportunities in this constituency. And they are great. We have a lot of great potential. And this is why, I want to challenge Sam, because Sam, I stayed up Tetmon all the way up there, admiring your beautiful resort. But we need to do something that you can bring your tourists so that they can enjoy all the beautiful sights that we have here and services. So we need to start talking about bridging that gap, to take it from Soufriere and to come across to Tetmon, so that we can have an opportunity to have tourists coming in our constituency. So that is something we need to spend some time on. I don't know how far we've gotten, but I remember the late Honorable Ed Regis spoke about that. And that is something that we wish to really spend time looking at it to see the feasibility of it. And once it is feasible, it is something that we should seriously consider developing. Now, I, on my own, cannot tell you I'm going to make a road from Soufriere to Tetmon. I don't have the money. We don't collect taxes in Grand Bay. It's the government that collects taxes. And we have to ensure that the government is able to afford such a project. But I think it has great potential, and we will take a very serious look at it. And I will ensure that we at least find whether it is feasible and present it to the Prime Minister and the Cabinet to see if it is a road that we can actually pursue. But we need to ensure that we develop the tourism sector here in Grand Bay. And I met a young man, I was hoping he would have come here and give us a little fire. Where is he? Berkey, a fellow called Berkey. I met him the other day. He told me he's a tour guide. And he had a lot of great ideas. But one of the things we need to do is to see how we can develop sites and services. Being able to look at the Geneva River. I know in Layo, you had the wacky rollers, remember the river tubing. That is something I remember Ed spoke about as well. And that is something I believe that we can seriously pursue. The other day, where's Packet? Packet and I were down there. We were looking at the GTech. And the Minister of Tourism earlier today told me that the ministry will be coming up with us to take a closer look at GTech to see what opportunities are there so that we can maximize that facility and the sites that we have around that area. It would be a place for nice historical tour and things that can be done so that people can pay money to get that tour. I mean, that's what people do when they travel. You go to all kinds of things, learn a little history, eat a little local food. They have a little oven there, get a little bread there. Another guy is going to start making juices, I think Packet told me. And then they're going to do prawn farming right there in the old ruins. It's an excellent place for that. And that is a project that can generate revenue to bring money into the Grand Bay constituency. We also looked at the CMOS production. And Packet is really passionate about this. He met with the young people. We were not able to go out there with them. But there is a project that is being done that I believe that has great potential. Again, CMOS production. Because Ben Josh CMOS, for example, imports some of their raw materials. We should be in a position to supply that, and that is an opportunity that we need to embrace. And next door is the coal pot. I mean, this is, for me, one of the best stories that I have seen in entrepreneurship in my time in government. Because I remember when they started, and Packet then was a young youth officer, looking for skills training. And you too, Minister. And John Roach, and I remember especially Packet and John Roach, because they wanted the thing here and they were doing it here. And they brought the Peace Corps volunteers to train the young people. And fortunately, there were some people who were very interested in it. And they were able to grow that small project. And now look at what they have created. That is a project that has to be expanded. It must be expanded because it has the potential to generate more jobs. It can create more jobs. And we will work very closely with them. I remember as Minister of Youth, we had the Dominica Youth Business Trust. We had opportunities that we created that they could take advantage of and other young people could take advantage of. We have to build on those things to ensure that we can create employment. The focus has to be on economic opportunities for our people. So young people, it's up to you. We open the doors for you. You must be ready to run in. So don't let me go and quiver myself looking for things, troubling Sam, going on trouble with Prime Minister, troubling all the cabinet ministers, and next thing we bring a thing and you don't want it. We are going to embark on skills training program in the coming weeks. We're going to expand the program. We have already received some approvals. What we need now is to identify the skills and to be able to go ahead and get trainers and train young people. So I'm very happy, I'm very fortunate to have Julian Packet right here in this constituency. And I hope his minister wouldn't mind, because soon, once I get into Parliament, and if the Prime Minister gives me a seat in the cabinet, I want Julian Packet to work with me. I'm telling you that. Eh? I want him to be right here, focusing on Grand Bay constituency and the South. So from Pidit Savan to Bellevue Chopin, I want him to focus on that so we can start talking about business development, entrepreneurship, opportunities for expanding and growing businesses. These are the type of things I would like to see us do in this constituency. We also have been looking, and I know Dr. Daru is not able to make it tonight. He told me he wanted to join us, but he's unable to be here. We are looking, Mwetansa, we are looking at a project jointly for both Pidit Savan and the Grand Bay constituency. And we're looking at, for a long time, I know he's talking about doing the fisheries facility. And I remember some years ago, I helped him when we met with the Japanese to push that project. It's something that I know he's passionate about, and Ed was also interested in, and that we could use it not only for a fisheries facility, but for a facility where you can have yachts to at least come in, or to have some port of entry of something of that nature. Now, we cannot declare port of entries, only the government can do that. So, Makadeu, Mokalefesa. But what I'm telling you is that we are going to push to realize that goal. that is something that I think is worth pursuing, and we should definitely pursue that. So we have to look at that. Because once we can create an opportunity for the fishermen, we can ensure that we can have storage, processing, and we can actually even purchase the fish from them. I remember when I was Minister of Fisheries, I remember that was something that we pushed for. It didn't work very well, but there were some successes. Because there's no reason why a man should come from sea and have to go around looking to sell the fish. Or get some fellas on a truck and go looking on a pickup and going around the place trying to sell the fish. We should be able to bring that fish to a central location, the fish purchased, processed to some extent, and sold to supermarkets and to the market so people can buy their fresh fish if they wish. But these are the things that we need to focus on. And again, these are ideas that I know that we discuss. Paget and myself, we spend a day just looking around and seeing the opportunities, and he bringing me around the place and see what it is that we can do. Another thing that I found that was very interesting is a project that I think it was the late John Fabian that pushed for that industrial site, the 8 Bank site down in Geneva. I remember I came here with him in the early days because he was so determined to have this, especially for a call center. I remember back then we were looking at a call center, which we tried. The facility was constructed, then the use changed slightly, and eventually, I guess, events overtook us, and now there are operators there. There are shops, workshops, that I find are really, really interesting and with great potential for expansion. That is the kind of things that we need to focus on, because I remember seeing a gentleman, when you're going down, after you're getting close to Ed's mother by Mabouche, they're going down, there was a guy doing furniture there in a very tight space. We should, these are the kinds of operations that need to be expanded in a facility like what we have there. So I think that is one of the things that we will be pursuing, expanding that facility so we can have greater production. Because once you start producing, you can employ. So we need to expand the employment opportunities. And some of us must say that our NEP, we would want to work with somebody like that under the NEP for a period of time, learning the trade. So not only skills training program, but as employment, as an intern, a trainee. So you can remain there for a couple of years and then move to full employment or create your own business. But I think these are the type of things that I would like to do, especially for young people with you. But I hope you don't have me wasting my time, and energy. So déjà pas qu'à me de check si on pas qu'à dire hier. Mais mon avertisseur. Once we create the opportunities, I hope you will be there to take advantage of them. Because one of the saddest things is to see you work hard to push something for your constituents, and at the end of the day, the thing just there, It's just there. And I remember I built a basketball court for fellas. I had to go and beg somebody to do it for me. The government didn't have money back in the days. Remember when Pierre was there, we were tight on the IMF. And I got somebody to build a nice basketball court for me. One of the biggest we had in the West Coast at the time. And one day I passed there, I see fellas playing small goal on that. Man kicking football on the basketball court. I struggled. I had to acquire the land, get owners who are outside of Dominica. One day they even say we're still owing up till now. And we were able to build the thing, but they were not using it. Please, I hope we don't find ourselves in that position. We work hard to create the opportunities for you. We expect you to take advantage of those opportunities. And I hope that we can see more of that. Please, sorry. Put your mask back. Put your mask. Okay. Yeah, that's my partner. Yeah, he come looking for me. All right. So we must take advantage of these opportunities to ensure that the efforts that we make, the sacrifices that your government makes for you, will not go in vain. And this is why tonight I invite you here to talk to you, but I also wanted to listen to you. But I think you're not in a talking mood tonight. I don't know why some people that meet me on the road and give me so much talk already. You parle as well. You're afraid to talk. I am willing to listen, But anyway, it's going good, Patricia. Yeah, and it's going good, Cynthia. Thank you very much for being here and at least listening actively. So we need to look at those opportunities. But another thing that I remember that have been discussed, and again, I am laying before you ideas that I thought about through my discussions with you, my interactions with you, and also my interactions with the late Ed Regis, your member of parliament, and people who were close to him, and knowing some of the things that he was pursuing. I believe that we also have great potential to become a center of good production in agriculture and agro-processing. I still believe we have the potential to start considering agro-processing in a very serious way. And this is one of the areas that I believe we can develop to give agriculture a shot in the arm. Because if you know where you can sell your products, you will plant. If it may be in the early years, it may be difficult. Maybe we can't get all the fruits we need. But once we are producing, people will plant. And I am convinced that this is an area that we need to pay attention to. I will pursue every opportunity that I can get in that area because I believe it is an opportunity to generate employment, create employment, and generate revenue for all of us in this constituency. I spoke about tourism development, but I think tourism as well, we need to start looking at, and I'm so happy that Ed started that project on the rehabilitation of the Geneva playing field, because sports is a good way of bringing tourists. Whether it's a man can come out from Vegas and spend $1 here, if you come and watch a game. You can sell 1-2 ice pop, you can sell, something, you can make some money, sell your bakes and your chicken. So we have to see sports also as an opportunity, not only for health, for entertainment, but also for generating money in a community. And I'm very happy that the government is investing, Minister, almost $500,000 in that facility. It's a huge project because it's a huge playing field that has been, in that state for a while. We have to do proper drainage. We have to ensure that we can regrass and ensure that we have a state-of-the-art playing field. The next step will be to upgrade it to ensure we have the facilities to go with it. Make sure we have the change rooms, the lighting, the stands. We have to ensure that we can invest to upgrade that facility so that it can become a premier facility in Dominica and in the Eastern Caribbean. Because we have the potential of hosting the Windward Island Games, for example, the inter-school games, something that can bring people to our communities and can bring money so that we can earn some money from those activities. So we have to look at that, and we will be looking at sporting facilities throughout the constituency to ensure that young people have an avenue so that they can dissipate some of their energies, but also that people can be healthier. Because we don't talk about health much. And you're young, it's now you have to look at your health, So when you come old, some of you pay attention to your health. Exercise is important, and we need to create more recreational facilities. Not just sports in the sense that we know it, but walking. People can walk, people can exercise, just stretch or do stuff. So we will be looking at that. And I hope that you young people will take advantage of those opportunities when they are created. But I think I've been talking too much. I see some of you want me to go, so I will get to the last one. Culture. I'll take questions. Yes, I'll take questions. Culture. Grand Bay has always been known as a cultural capital of Dominica. And we need to reclaim that. We need to ensure that at a minimum, we must recognize those who have contributed to making Grand Bay the cultural capital that it is. We must embrace them, and we must take every opportunity to memorialize them so that they will be known for generations to come. when we consider the great contributions that many of our forefathers and mothers have made, we have to ensure that they are celebrated. And Matutu's Park was an icon in the community that represented for us a rallying call, a place, a central location that signified the prowess of Grand Bay as a cultural capital. That is something that we will be focusing on, and I know that was, again, one of the areas that Ed was very interested in for entertainment as well. But I am thinking we can bring together a cross-section of people in the community who can generate the ideas to determine what it is that how we would like to see Matutu's Park. And I also believe that we need to look at areas that we can identify as some areas for our heroes, the people who have made great contributions. And I am a Carter Calypso fan, so I like Midnight Groovers, and I believe that we need to at least let the world know what Grand Bay has produced and its contribution to music. Because if you go to a place like St. Lucia and you talk about Midnight Groovers, you pull in a crowd, you know. Chubby is a huge star, and his Midnight Groovers, huge stars in St. Lucia especially. So not just the French territories, but I remember in St. Lucia, they're big. And we have to be able to recognize their contribution. The ballet, the art form that you still have in these parts, we have to embrace them. And Tradi Bell and Teacher Adi and I see Carlton there, we have to be able to protect those demonstrations of our art and culture, and must be able to create the opportunities to do that. And it is not only around Independence, but throughout the year. And hopefully we can go and entertain Sam's guests for him at Jungle Bay, because that's how people make money in the expression of the art and culture. You perform, you do stuff, and we have to create that opportunity so that, again, we can create more employment and generate income for our people. So tonight, I plead with you, and also I invite you to join me on that journey. Young people especially. I know many of you are entrepreneurs. I have seen some of the most creative things generated in Dominica the last few years. And some of them come from Grand Bay as well, and the Grand Bay constituency. We must embrace you. We must support you. And in some instances, we have to create the facilities where we can incubate you so that you can eventually grow to become successful businesses. And I don't want some of you to look at entrepreneurship as just getting some money to do something. You have to have that desire to run a business. You need to develop the ability, the skills to run that business. And this is why I have said to my good friend Julian that we need to ensure that we do the type of training for managing a business as we do under the DYBT, so that we do not just give you money to do stuff. We train you so that you can become successful. I know it's impatient. I know some of you are impatient. You have the business idea, you want the money, you want to go and do your stuff. But we can do that, and then you fail, and it becomes more of a problem for you. You might lose some of your own investments. It is better that we ensure that you have the skills to run your business, a little management, a little bookkeeping. You know, you take your time and learn. And don't be afraid of books, you know. Don't be afraid to learn. And I'm sure that the people who will be teaching you know how to teach and will help you. Even if you did not complete secondary school, you did not go to college, we'll still help you. Don't be intimidated because they say about training. We're not going to make you write no essay and go and have an exam. It is just teaching you how to get some skills that you need to run your business. And I'm stressing on this because I know sometimes, PALREPs, I know you have had it hard because everyone wants to get the stuff now. And they know how to do their thing. They know how to run their business. And then by the time you give them the assistance A few months later, they come back to you because they think cool. It's best you take your time. Take your time. Learn how to run a business. Because small business, that is what helps to grow the economy. And if we can do that well, we can ensure that you have better opportunities to make your own money. But that is what I hope we can do together with you young people. But in order to make all of these things happen, our government, building that future for you, is investing heavily in air access. We know about the new international airport that our government is developing for us, but we must be prepared for the opportunities that it will bring. And this is why I'm talking about, especially about tourism, sites and services. More tourists come in, more people, more money. We have to be able to let some of it come to Grand Bay, and to Tetmon, and to Mountain, and to Bordeaux. We need to ensure that we have those opportunities. Your government is working on the digital economy to ensure that we have better internet access. We have the tools that we can not only consume technology, but produce. These are the things that these men and women have been working on under the leadership of our Prime Minister. We have to ensure that we ourselves support those initiatives and that we are prepared to take advantage of these opportunities once they present themselves. So I thank you for listening to me, and I hope that you will have many questions, comments, and whatever that you may wish to share with us. We will take notes, and we hope that we can respond accordingly. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Before we get to the questions, before the police have to come and stop the jam, you know, as the rain it cool out, can you all spread out a little bit, just acknowledging the COVID protocols, just spread out a little bit at the back there. Now, feel free to ask any questions that you want to the people we have here. Do play soft. Do cut off.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Incoming Pal Rep, welcome, and we love you. Cadre of ministers, Grand Bay Tetmon residents. Well, I am from Fossejean, but I live in Grand Bay. But still, Grand Bay, Fossejean, like Mr. Henderson said, our Pal Rep, we are one. He stressed on something, and Mr. Raphael can allude to that. The construction industry in Dominica is booming. On the 25th, when you cast your vote, or even now, in the process before you cast your vote, you will hear a lot of things. Some people will say, Kisayo kefe bow, Kisayo ja bow. On the 25th, do not consider you are voting for something tangible immediately or directly. By saying this, what I mean is, if a government is offering you a skill for the rest of your life, you can leave Dominica, go to Africa, wherever you want, and you have that skill to develop yourself and maybe develop other persons. My advice, please, the youth, especially the young men of Grand Bay, please take advantage. You are being paid a stipend. Take advantage of these opportunities. Your instructors are willing to pass on the knowledge. From a personal point of view, I am always willing to pass on the skill of electrical installation that I have. And I was kind of disappointed in the first program that I taught in Grand Bay. So in the future, the government will continue to provide these trainings, the youth skills training. Please, I am pleading, I'm begging. Do not allow Mr. Henderson to become the PAL rep and beg with me. I'm begging now. Please take advantage. Develop yourselves. Take the programs. Please, young men. The government is offering you a skill for the rest of your life. Accept it. Do not listen to people that are saying, qui ça yo ke ba ou? Yo ba ou l'argent? Money? To vote for somebody who wants to give you a skill for the rest of your life? No. The skill is more important. Accept it. Participate. That is just what I want to say to Granby youth, Bagatelle, PD Savant, Fosse Jean, all the youth in the area. Please, when your government offers you something that will develop you for the future, accept it and take part. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Wait here.
Good evening to all. My name is Elia Popon. I am currently a medical student studying in Cuba, practically on my last year. I come from the community of Grand Colibri. And as a future medical professional, there is a concern that has been going on in Grand Colibri for a very long period of time. Since I know myself, there are residents in the area who have been living without access to water for their entire lives. It's not that they can't afford to have the water installed, it's just that due to the height of Grand Colibri, the water pressure is too low and the water is not able to reach these residents. Somebody cut me off. There are young people who also, they are interested in building higher up, but due to the lack of water, no one really wants to build that far up. So we have spoken to many parliamentary representatives who have come through the area. Okay, so Dr. Henderson, my question is to you. Yes, Grand Colibri is a very small population, but you have never seen a community with labor rights like Grand Colibri. My question is, what will the Dominica Labour Party do if they have not heard our cry? We have been saying it years upon years upon years. Are they going to help Grand Colibri, at least the residents that live higher up on the hill, get access to portable water?
We're trying to collect the questions collectively, so we'll answer like 5 questions at a time. So if anybody else has another question, can you come and ask?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Our prospective PAL rep, Dr. Vince Henderson, Sam Raphael, Mr. Green, Mr. Ian Douglas, and Minister of Youth. Nice to meet you all. And my name is Francis Antoine. I'm from Granby. I was born in Granby, but I spent some time overseas. I was migrated, luckily. Thank you very much. But I've came back in Dominica, and it's been 20 years now since I've been in Dominica, resident of Granby. And when I did come down, I did start some exciting things, and which was one of it was a youth program. And I'd still like to, when you got on board, try to get a chance to speak to you about that and to see what we can do. Sorry about my speech. It's kind of hard to breathe with this mask there. Okay? As you could probably see, it keeps going in and out of my mouth. My question actually is, you wouldn't be able to solve it, but you can probably get the process going or do whatever it needs to actually probably try to address the question and the concern. The question is, in what way, I heard you speak about all those other areas of development, but one area that Granby really needs looking at is the law enforcement in the area, the policing. There's a lot of things happening and a lot of citizens, a lot of residents have concerns saying that the police are not doing their work. So I'd like to see what can be done in addressing some of the concerns that the residents have when they have an issue and they address the police, and the police are more or less not really addressing the matter in the way that they should. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Protocol has been established. My name is Karen Favre. I am the owner of Karen's Creations, and I'm also a member of 2 small business groups. And after speaking with the young people, some of their concerns I would like to expose here tonight. Mr. Henderson, I would like to say welcome, and we look forward to working with you. What I'm asking now is, based on, we have the business ideas, and some of us have gone out and started off. However, some are stuck in the pipeline. Some are not able to meet the requirements of the financial institutions, and we all know that sometimes that's what we are faced with. So tonight I'm asking, how are you able, or the government is able, to help those who are stuck in this pipeline, to help us implement our businesses? Because a successful business, for one, is a success for their family and the community and Dominica on a whole. So we are asking, how are you able to assist us in the pipeline to implement those businesses? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I had a number of questions, but it's too late now. The first thing is Mr. Sam Raphael mentioned about not giving up in our businesses and all the steps and all of those things. But when you have a business and you get so many ups and downs, challenges, we also need a body of people to help us, support us, for us not to give up, get frustrated and all of those things. Now, one of the things that goes bad with us here in Dominica, I would say, or in the black world, is that black people don't like to support the black. You understand? And we get frustrated. Because we are in Grand Bay, we have businesses and people will go elsewhere to support the businesses. One of the things they would say, generally, is Makinde pay loan. You understand? Now the loans are there in Ed Bank for us, young people. We would apply. And many of these small businesses are suffering because they're asking you for all questions and all paperwork, all documents. Now, what about our grandmother that have a cocoa mill? She never had no bookkeeping doing, but she know when she make her money, she put it under the tapi, right? When she comes, Hurricane take her mill. She wants the same loan, but she don't have the history behind it, how she access it, whatever, and names of business and all of that. It's problem. Now, when the lady cannot get that little money, it's a little frustrating, you understand? Even me, as a small business owner with my salon, the Ed Bank is available. You apply long time. I apply long time online. Then they tell you, bring this, bring that, you bring it. Nothing is available. No, I heard it's available now, but you still have to bring other things in order to pick it up. So all of those things frustrate us as young people. Now there is something else in terms of agriculture and tourism. Mr. Raphael had his first business in Daly Seas. Now we know of the disaster that happened in Deputy Savant to Daly's Road. The road is not accessible. Now one of the things I think we should work on, not Mr.